Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Caitlin, your geeky girlfriend, and today's video is going to be another Real Talk movie review for you guys. If you have watched some of my earlier released videos today, you'll know that we were on a Fast and Furious kick recently, and I did go and see Fast and Furious 10 or Fast X the weekend that it opened. I have already dropped that review, so make sure you scroll down and check out that one. But before I went and saw Fast 10, I wanted to make sure that I was all up to date with this franchise. So I went back and watched all the ones that I hadn't previously watched, which includes number 4, 5, 6, and 7. So I just uploaded my Fast and Furious 4 or Fast and Furious with the ampersand to this channel, so you can scroll down and find that one. And then this video is going to be a review of Fast 5. And before I get into the video and all the details of it, I'm just going to go ahead and put it out there that after watching all of the movies, including Fast X, this one is still by far my favorite in the entire series. I would say that if you are trying to decide if you know enough about the franchise to go see Fast X, or if you really like the franchise or want to get into the franchise, but you're not sure where to start, I would say definitely watch number 1, and then you can probably skip ahead and just watch this one. This is the one that really ties in the most with Fast X. So if you are looking to watch Fast X and you haven't seen this one, make sure you go and do that. Let's talk about it. So in this one, we're again following Vin Diesel and Paul Walker, Dominic Toretto, Vin Diesel, and Brian. I forget what his last name is. Brian. I don't remember what Brian's last name is, but anyway, Paul Walker plays Brian. And at the end of number 4, Dominic Toretto goes to jail for all of the crimes that he has committed since the franchise began. So at the end of number 4, Dom is actually on a bus to prison, and in number 5, Brian and Dom's sister Mia and a couple of other of their crew members wreck the bus. This is all at the end of number 4. They replay it at the beginning of number 5, but they wreck the bus that Dom is on and help him escape. And so he doesn't go to prison. So now at the beginning of number 5, Dom is on the run, evading the law in Brazil. And Brian, Paul Walker, is also evading the law because he's now an ex-FBI agent who helped a criminal escape. So he's also on the run. Mia, Dom's sister, is with them in Brazil, and in the beginning of this film, you find out that Mia is pregnant with Brian's child. That is a spoiler, but it doesn't really, the story goes on with or without that. So just keep that in mind as you're watching this film. Like, she's supposed to be pregnant, and she's literally running and jumping and things. So anyway, the team, Dom and Brian get recruited to help stop this, I guess he's like a money launderer, but he's like really powerful in Brazil. And this is where it really ties into Fast X, is because it turns out that the villain in number 5 is the father of the villain in Fast X. So you do have to kind of watch this one to get that storyline. But if you miss it or you don't watch this one before you go and see Fast X, it's okay, because they went back and reconned the whole thing and put it back in like it existed always. So you can enjoy that. So if you don't watch Fast 5 before you see Fast X, it's okay, because they'll replay it all for you at the beginning of Fast X. But anyway, so they are all in Brazil. They get recruited. It's just, it starts off with just Dom, Brian, and Mia. And they get recruited, and Mia can't really do anything because she's pregnant. So Mia kind of takes herself out of the equation. So Dom recruits everybody that has ever worked with him ever to come to Brazil to help him to stop this money launderer. And they're going to do this heist where they're going to steal all this guy's money. And so that involves Ludacris, that gets Tyrese Gibson, that gets, and we still have no Letty, because if you watched my last video, unfortunately, you know that Letty is not in number 5. So we don't have Letty. But we get everybody that has ever been in a Fast and Furious movie ever, including Han from Tokyo Drift, and these two guys who they recruited and who worked with in number 4. There's like a group of brothers from Mexico that they recruited in number 4. They come back. So it's just, you get the whole gang. You also get Gal Gadot in this one randomly, who also was in number 4, and she was on the opposing side of them, but since Dom saved her life, she decides that she's going to join their troop. So Gal Gadot is in here, and then the character at the bottom of your screen is a very important piece of this storyline. She actually meets Dom in Brazil, and is a cop working for Brazil trying to find Dom. And she's actually working for and with Dwayne The Rock Johnson, who is like a SWAT team agent working for I think he works for the FBI or like the Department of Justice or something. And he's some like higher up military official that has like practically CIA clearance and everything. So Elena is the character at the bottom, and she works for Dwayne The Rock Johnson. So he's like in charge of her, but she's actually like the Brazilian cop. And Dom and her meet in Brazil, and she lets him go, he saves her life, and so she lets him go. So they kind of start that at the very beginning of the film. This film also features a very meaty man fight between Vin Diesel and Dwayne The Rock Johnson. So if you're into that, there's that for you. There was a lot of testosterone in this movie for sure. But the pros of this movie, this one is my favorite, as I said, because Dwayne The Rock Johnson comes in. I actually love Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I think he's funny. Number 2, I enjoy watching action movies more when Dwayne The Rock Johnson is in them than some other movies. Like pretty much everything Dwayne The Rock Johnson has done, I really have enjoyed. And he's one of my favorite actors, honestly. So he is in this one and makes his appearance in the franchise. You get the whole crew back together. I also find Ludacris very funny. And like his and Tyrese Gibson, they're like going back and forth is really funny. And it's very heisty. I love a heist movie. This one is more, like I said, this one's more heisty than, it's still crime, but like more heisty than action movie. And I really like that. Like I love heist movies. I love like things that mess with the head, and when there's like big reveals and stuff, I love those kind of movies. This one, like I said at the beginning of this video, is the most pivotal one in terms of the rest of the franchise moving forward. Gal Gadot was not only in number 4, she's in number 5 and number 6. So she kind of has a recurring role after this. You meet Han comes back from Tokyo, which they mention in this film. We're going to talk about that in a second, but Han is in here, and he ends up being pretty pivotal in movies moving forward. Elena becomes pretty pivotal in movies moving forward. And obviously Dom and Brian. And Mia is also very pivotal in this movie. She's kind of Brian or Paul Walker's anchor, and their relationship is really beautiful. And that kind of blossoms into other movies as well. And then, so there's just a lot in this movie in particular that does bleed into other movies. There's also a big piece of plot point at the very end, so make sure you watch after the credits because there is an after credit scene. And Eva Mendes, who was in number 2, comes back in this one, and you find out that her and Dwayne The Rock Johnson actually work for the same company. So if you watch the second one, Eva Mendes is an undercover cop in that one. There's always somebody being an undercover cop. And she comes back for a small cameo in number 5. And she lays a piece of information on Dwayne The Rock Johnson's desk that is very pivotal and kind of spins the tale for where the franchise is going to moving forward. Now, the cons of this movie. Dwayne The Rock Johnson has some really corny and cheesy lines in this movie and in the rest of the movies moving forward. I mean, he has a lot of one-liners that are just like, really just stuff like, oh, I'm the gun show and blah 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 blah, like all of those types of like big muscle humor. And it's just like, it's funny, but it's like, come on now, how many of those can we fit in one movie? There are more new characters to keep track of at this point. This film franchise has spanned 5 movies and probably about 20 to 23 different, if not more, different characters and villains and actors and actresses. And it's just, it gets to the point where, like, as long as you know who Dom and Brian and, like, his main crew are, and Dwayne The Rock Johnson and his role, you're pretty much fine. But there are a lot of people coming in and out of these movies. And then there are plot holes. They mention Tokyo in this movie, but based on how the movies were released, Tokyo's already happened. However, it's this movie where you find out that Tokyo actually happens after this movie because they're talking about Han going to Tokyo. And I think Dom says something along the lines of like, I'll meet you in Tokyo. But it happens like chronologically speaking, Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift takes place actually between movies like 6 and 7 of the franchise, but randomly it was released as number 3. So the timing doesn't line up. They're all like way older now talking about Tokyo, even though that was supposedly. So it's just, it gets a little messy in this one. And this is where this is where some people get lost in the plot lines because it's like there's too much going on, too many storylines, and they have to go back and like recon everything, and it just gets messy. And this is where it starts. Overall, though, for Fast Five, I give it an A. This one is my favorite in the franchise. I love the heist. I love the whole scene where they're pulling the vault through the street. And I really did get a thrill watching Fast X and seeing that scene again. And I think Paul Walker is great in this movie. I think Vin Diesel is great in this movie, and the two of them together have really nice like chemistry and really like you can sense a deep bond between them, and I really like that. So overall, I think this one is actually good. I would recommend this one if you want to watch a Fast and Furious movie. This would be the one that I would tell you to watch. But you would need to watch just like maybe the first one or even number 4 just to get an idea of who some of the characters are. But this one can stand alone, and you can watch this one and just like watch a good car heist movie. And you kind of get the idea. So this one's my favorite. I've been watching all of them. This one's still my favorite. And I said in my review of the 4th one that I feel like in order to keep these movies straight, you have to have like one identifying factor for each one. And for number 4, I said number 4 was the one where they drive through the tunnel, and this one is the one with the vault. This is the one where they steal the vault, and that's the most important thing that you need to know. And if you know that, and if you've seen that part, you've seen this movie because it's the identifying factor of each one, and all of the movies have it. So that's it for this one, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments if you agree with this review, disagree with this review, what your favorite Fast and Furious movie is out of the 10 that there have been so far. And have you seen Fast X? Do you intend to see Fast X? If so, I think this one is a one that you should watch before you go or before you stream it or get it on DVD or whatever. Should be on HBO Max now. It's been out of the theaters for a while. So, yeah, enjoy your viewing, and I'll see you guys in the next one.